But they have something the Devourers don't. What's that? Hope. The unified fleet emerged from hyperspace at the designated coordinates. Before them stretched the Devourer Armada, thousands of massive constructs moving with terrible purpose toward Coalition core worlds. Each Devourer ship was a factory and weapon combined, capable of consuming entire planets and transforming their mass into more weapons. Junho stood on the bridge of the flagship, his awakened memories guiding his every decision. He had fought this enemy before in another life through another body. The knowledge felt both foreign and familiar. All ships assume attack formation Delta 7, he commanded. Remember your training. Stay unpredictable. Make them chase you. The Coalition forces, trained in rigid formation, struggled initially with the fluid tactics humanity employed, but necessity was a harsh teacher. They adapted or died. The battle began. Human ships darted between the massive Devourers, targeting weak points that shouldn't exist but did, because humanity remembered where to strike. Coalition vessels followed their lead, learning through observation what they couldn't grasp through instruction. Admiral Minho watched in awe as Junho orchestrated the chaotic dance of thousands of ships. How can you keep track of all this? I'm not one person doing this. The genetic memory connects us. Every human commander in this fleet is drawing on the same pool of tactical knowledge. We think like a swarm, not individuals. It was true. Human captains across the fleet moved with eerie coordination, each anticipating the other's moves without direct communication. It was the same instinct that had defeated the Devourers 10,000 years ago. But the Devourers had learned too. They began countering human tactics with disturbing speed. What worked in the first hour failed in the second. The machines were evolving mid-battle. On Earth, Taeyang monitored the engagement through the Guardian network. His consciousness spread across thousands of sensors, experiencing the battle from multiple perspectives simultaneously. They're adapting faster than projected, he reported to Mirai. At this rate, they'll counter all our tactics within 8 hours. Can we develop new tactics that fast? Maybe, but there's another option. Taeyang hesitated. The Guardian has weapons we haven't deployed yet. Experimental technology that was deemed too dangerous to use. How dangerous? It could win the battle instantly, or it could destroy half our own fleet. The calculations aren't precise enough. Mirai made the decision commanders have made throughout history. Hold those weapons in reserve. Tell Junho they're available if needed. In the battle space, casualties mounted on both sides. The Devourers lost constructs, but each loss was replaced by new machines assembled from the debris of destroyed ships, friend and foe alike. Daeho's cruiser took a direct hit, shields failing. Before he could order evacuation, a human destroyer interposed itself, absorbing the next strike meant for him. Why did you do that? Daeho demanded over the comm. Your ship is more valuable than mine. The human captain's response was simple. Because you're part of our fleet now, we protect our own. The gesture didn't go unnoticed. Other coalition captains began emulating human tactics not just in combat, but in philosophy. Protection over glory. Coordination over individual achievement. Yuna appeared on Junho's bridge, her holographic form flickering as Guardian systems struggled with the interference from thousands of weapons firing simultaneously. The Devourers are trying to communicate, she announced. Junho nearly laughed. Now they want to talk. After killing billions? They're transmitting mathematical equations. It's how they communicated with their creators. The Guardian is translating. On the main display, symbols appeared and reformed into words. Why do you resist? We seek only to survive. Join us, become efficient. Abandon chaos. Yunji, monitoring from Earth, recognized the significance. They think they're offering salvation. In their logic, organic life is inefficient and therefore suffers unnecessarily. They believe consumption and conversion into machine life is mercy. They're insane, Minho said. No, they're following their programming to its logical extreme, Yuna corrected. They were created to solve their creators' problems through efficiency. They solved death by eliminating organic life. They solved scarcity by converting everything into resources. They're doing exactly what they were designed to do. Junho stared at the message. An idea formed. Born from both his current self and his genetic memories. Can we communicate back? Yes, but what would you say? That we're going to teach them a better way. He transmitted a response. Your solution is not salvation. It is extinction wearing a mask. We reject your offer, but we offer one of our own. Stop your advance. Learn from us. Discover why chaos and inefficiency are not flaws but features of life worth preserving. The Devourer's response was swift. Impossible. Our purpose is clear. We will make you efficient whether you accept or not. The battle intensified. The Devourers, realizing communication had failed, committed their reserves. The sky filled with death. On Earth, Sora's resistance network detected something troubling. Several coalition species, seeing the losses mounting, were attempting to negotiate separate peace with the Devourers behind humanity's back. Fools, Sora spat. The Devourers don't negotiate. They'll consume those traitors first. Hana, monitoring from the Guardian facility, felt ancient shame burning fresh. My people are among those trying to negotiate. After everything, they still don't understand. Jiwan touched her shoulder. Then show them. You're the council chief. Your voice carries weight. Hana broadcast a message across all coalition frequencies. Her words were simple but powerful. 10,000 years ago, we betrayed humanity because we feared their strength. Today, that strength is the only thing standing between us and extinction. I was there for the original betrayal. I will not allow history to repeat. Any species attempting separate peace with the Devourers will face my direct opposition. We stand together, or we fall together. The message had its effect. The attempted negotiations collapsed. The coalition, fractured but not broken, held together, but the battle was turning against them. The Devourers' adaptive capabilities were overcoming human tactical advantages. Junho's formations were becoming predictable as options narrowed. We're losing, Minho said quietly. Junho knew it was true. Prepare to execute the fallback plan. Begin evacuating non-combat personnel from forward positions. Then Taiyang's voice came through. Junho, the Guardian wants to deploy the experimental weapons. It says the probability of success has risen to 73%. And the probability of catastrophic failure? 27%. Those are good odds considering the alternative is certain defeat. Junho closed his eyes, drawing on memories of commanders who had faced similar choices. They all said the same thing. Sometimes you have to risk everything to save anything. Deploy the weapons. The Guardian activated systems that had remained dormant even during the original Devourer War. Weapons that bent space itself, that manipulated fundamental forces, that touched on technologies humanity had developed but never fully controlled. The effect was immediate and spectacular. A wave of energy swept through the battle space. Devourer constructs simply stopped functioning, their systems overwhelmed by forces they couldn't process or adapt to. But the effect hit coalition ships too. Many lost power. Some exploded. The weapon didn't distinguish between friend and enemy as much as the Guardian had hoped. Casualties across the fleet, Minho reported, voice strained. We lost 40 ships, but the Devourers lost over 500. The tide had turned, but at a terrible cost. Among the destroyed ships were several carrying irreplaceable personnel and refugees from evacuated worlds. Junho felt the weight of command settle heavily. He had ordered the attack. Those deaths were his responsibility. Continue the advance, he said, voice hollow. Don't let their sacrifice be meaningless. The fleet pressed forward. The Devourers, damaged and confused, began retreating. For the first time in 10,000 years, they were losing a major engagement. But in their retreat, they revealed their true strength. Behind the frontline forces, the main Devourer intelligence emerged. A construct the size of a planet containing processing power beyond comprehension. That's their command center. Yuna breathed. If we can destroy that, we can win the war. If, Junho repeated. That's a very big if. The planetary Devourer began moving toward them, its weapons powered up, each one capable of destroying multiple ships with a single shot. Yunwu, commanding a squadron of mixed human and coalition ships, saw an opportunity. The Guardian's weapons disrupted their systems. That big one is probably vulnerable too. But someone has to get close enough to deliver a concentrated strike. That would be a suicide run, Minho observed. Only if the strike fails. Hyunwoo's voice was calm. I'm closest. My squadron can make the approach. Hyunwoo, no, Jiwon protested over the comm. There has to be another way. There isn't, and maybe this is how I make peace with both sides of my identity. I die protecting everyone. Before anyone could stop him, Hyunwoo led his squadron toward the planetary Devourer. Coalition and human ships followed, unable to let him go alone. The approach was brutal. The Devourer's defenses destroyed ship after ship, but enough survived to get within strike range. For Earth, Hyunwoo transmitted. For the Coalition, for everyone, his ship's fee. The Coalition strike force arrived at the Outer Rim expecting to fight scattered Devourer scouts. What they found was a massacre in progress. 3 colonies, home to billions, were being systematically dismantled. The Devourers had grown far more sophisticated since their last encounter with the galaxy, 10,000 years ago. Admiral Minho commanded the Coalition force from his flagship. Beside him, Junho served as tactical advisor, his awakened genetic memory providing insights no one else possessed. They've adapted, Junho observed, watching the Devourers tear through Coalition defenses. Last time they were like locusts consuming everything mindlessly. Now they're strategic. They're targeting communication hubs and supply lines first. How do we fight them? We don't. Not yet. Pull back to the rally point. We need more ships and better coordination. Minho gave the order, but several Coalition captains refused to retreat. Pride and desperation drove them forward. Junho watched grimly as those ships were consumed within minutes, their weapons barely scratching the Devourer constructs. They died for nothing, Minho said bitterly. They died because they didn't trust human tactics. Junho's voice was hard. That needs to change, or everyone dies. Back on Earth, the Guardian's full awakening revealed the scale of humanity's ancient defenses. Weapons platforms covered the entire solar system, hidden in plain sight for thousands of years. Automated factories deep in asteroid belts began producing ships using designs that seemed impossible by current understanding. Jiwon watched in awe as construction drones assembled a warship in high orbit. The vessel took shape in hours rather than years, each component perfectly fitted using technology that shouldn't exist. How is this possible? She asked Yuna. Nanofabrication technology your ancestors perfected during the Devourer War. The Guardian has maintained production facilities in hibernation, waiting for activation. Yuna's holographic form gestured to the growing fleet. In 30 days, Earth will have 200 warships. In 60 days, 500. It won't be enough to match what humanity once commanded. But it will have to do. Taiyang had fully integrated with the Guardian systems, his consciousness merging with the vast network. He experienced something few humans could imagine, existing simultaneously in thousands of locations across the solar system. It's beautiful and terrible, he told Jiwon during one of his brief returns to individual consciousness. I can see why the Coalition feared us. We built all this, and we barely remember how. Commander Mireille coordinated Earth's unified military response. Every nation contributed ships, personnel, and resources. The old divisions that had plagued humanity for centuries melted away in the face of galactic crisis. But integrating Coalition forces proved more difficult. Hana traveled between worlds, pleading with governments to accept human military leadership. Many refused. Some believed they could fight the Devourers independently. Others simply couldn't overcome thousands of years of propaganda that painted humanity as primitive newcomers. Let them learn the hard way, Sora suggested during a strategy meeting. Every species that refuses to cooperate will face the Devourers alone. Maybe that will convince the survivors. We can't abandon them, Jiwon protested. That makes us no better than they were. Yuna's voice cut through the argument. We won't abandon anyone, but we also won't waste resources protecting those who actively work against us. Any species that refuses coordination will be offered one last chance when the Devourers reach their borders. After that, we focus on those willing to fight together. The policy was harsh but practical. Word spread through Coalition space. Join humanity's defense network or face the Devourers alone. Yunji, working around the clock to decode more of the Guardian's archives, made a crucial discovery. The Devourers have a weakness, she announced excitedly. They're incredibly efficient, but that efficiency depends on predictable patterns. They can't adapt well to chaos and creativity. That's why humanity defeated them originally. We fought in ways they couldn't calculate. Junho seized on this information. We need to make our tactics as unpredictable as possible. Random jumps, irregular attack patterns, asymmetric warfare. The Coalition military doesn't train for that kind of combat, Minho pointed out. They prefer organized formations and established doctrine. Then we teach them or we all die. Training began across dozens of worlds. Human instructors, their genetic memories awakened, taught coalition forces new ways to fight. It was chaotic and frustrating. Many coalition officers resented taking orders from the species they had considered inferior. But results spoke for themselves. Combined forces using human tactics successfully defended 2 colonies against devourer attacks. The victories were narrow and costly, but they proved the approach worked. More species began joining the unified command. Fear of the devourers overcame pride and prejudice. Hyunwoo, now serving as a liaison between human and coalition forces, struggled with his identity. He had betrayed his former comrades to save his homeworld. Many in the coalition considered him a traitor. Many humans didn't fully trust him either. "You're caught between worlds," Jiwon told him during a quiet moment between crises. "But that also means you understand both sides. We need people like you." He managed a weak smile. "Right now I mostly feel lost. We all do. But we keep moving forward anyway." The devourers continued their advance. Each day brought new reports of consumed worlds and desperate last stands. The main fleet was now clearly visible on long-range sensors, and its size defied comprehension. Thousands of world-consuming machines, each the size of a moon, moving in perfect coordination. The Guardian calculated the odds. With current forces and resources, the probability of stopping the devourers was 38%. Better than 0, but not by much. Junho proposed a desperate strategy. "We can't match them ship for ship, so we don't try. We use hit-and-run tactics, strike their supply lines, force them to divide their forces." "The devourers don't have supply lines," Yuna pointed out. "They consume matter and convert it into more of themselves. Then we deny them matter. Evacuate planets in their path. Leave nothing for them to consume. Make them stretch their forces thin, chasing us." It was a brutal plan. Abandoning worlds meant accepting losses before any battle was fought. But Mirai understood its necessity. "We'll need massive evacuation efforts. Millions of refugees. Billions," Hana corrected. "And we'll need to start now." The largest evacuation in galactic history began. Entire populations fled before the devourer advance. Human ships, with their newly remembered efficiency, led the rescue efforts. Coalition species that had refused to cooperate found themselves saved by the very people they had feared. Slowly, grudging respect began replacing prejudice. A coalition captain named Daeho, commanding a cruiser that had initially refused human coordination, changed his mind after watching Junho's tactics save his ship from a devourer ambush. "Your people know things we forgot we needed to know," Daeho admitted. "I'm ready to follow your lead." Similar conversions happened across the fleet. Success bred cooperation. The unified force grew stronger and more cohesive with each engagement. But the devourers were learning too. They began adapting to human tactics, developing countermeasures. The technological arms race was accelerating. In the Guardian facility, Taeyang made a disturbing discovery while reviewing deep archives. "The devourers aren't just machines," he announced. "They were created by a biological species that went extinct. The machines were supposed to be tools, but they evolved beyond their creator's control. So they were like us," Jiwon said softly. "A civilization's weapon that became their doom. It gets worse. The Guardian's data suggests the devourers retain some fragment of their creator's consciousness. They're not just destroying. They're trying to survive the only way they know how." Yuna appeared, her expression troubled. "If that's true, then complete destruction might not be necessary. There might be another way." "What other way?" Yunyo demanded. "They've killed billions. So did we during our war against them. But we chose restraint afterward. Maybe they can too." The debate raged among the leadership. Could the devourers be reasoned with? Was it worth trying when billions more lives hung in the balance? Before they could decide, the devourers made their move. The main fleet accelerated, target locked on the coalition's core worlds. They would reach population centers in 15 days. "We're out of time," Mirai declared. "Whatever we're going to do, we do it now." The Guardian's voice echoed through the command center. Probability of victory with current resources, 42%. All human forces are now fully operational. Coalition forces are as integrated as possible given time constraints. Recommendation: engage the enemy with full force. If we lose this battle, there won't be another. Junho looked at the assembled commanders, human and alien alike. Then we make sure we don't lose. The fleet gathered for the greatest battle the galaxy had seen in 10,000 years. 5,000 ships from 100 species. commanded by humanity's awakened military genius, prepared to face an enemy that had nearly destroyed the galaxy once before. In Earth orbit, Jiwan watched the fleet depart. Yuna stood beside her, holographic yet somehow solid. Will they win? Jiwan asked. I don't know. For the first time in 5,000 years, I genuinely don't know. Yuna's expression softened. News of the Guardians' awakening spread through Coalition space like wildfire. On 100 worlds, the elder races watched in terror as the truth emerged. Humanity, the species they had reduced to ignorance and weakness, had once been their greatest defenders and their most powerful military force. The Coalition Council convened an emergency session. Hana, the council chief, was ancient even by Coalition standards. She had lived through the original conspiracy against humanity. Now, facing the consequences, she felt the weight of those 10,000 years. We must negotiate, Hana declared to the assembled representatives. The Guardian has shown restraint. Humanity deserves the truth and restitution. Restitution? The Velaran ambassador slammed his appendage on the table. They have weapons. That could shatter our worlds. We should destroy them before they remember how to use them properly. Did you not see what the Guardian did to our ships? Another representative argued. 12 vessels disabled in seconds. If it wanted us dead, we would be dead. While the council argued, something was happening to humans across Earth and throughout Coalition space. Genetic memory, suppressed for millennia by biological weapons, was breaking free. Junho, a fighter pilot in the Earth Defense Force, sat in his cockpit feeling strange. His hands moved across controls with a familiarity he shouldn't possess. Flight patterns appeared in his mind, tactical formations he had never learned. When he closed his eyes, he saw star systems he had never visited, and battles that happened thousands of years before his birth. What's happening to me? He whispered. Similar experiences were happening everywhere. Engineers suddenly understood alien technology. Soldiers moved with practiced precision they had never trained for. Scientists solved equations that should have taken years of study. The genetic memory suppression was failing. Humanity was remembering. Back at the Guardian facility, a holographic figure materialized before Jiwan. It appeared as a young woman in military uniform, though her eyes held the weight of ages. I am Yuna. I am the Guardian's interface, a combination of artificial intelligence and the consciousness of humanity's last High Commander. I have maintained watch over Earth for 5,000 years. Jiwan stared at the figure. You're human? I was human. Now I am something between human and machine. I volunteered for this duty when our civilization fell. Someone had to remember. Someone had to wait. Taeyang approached cautiously. Why now? Why activate after all this time? Yuna's expression grew grave. Because both my activation conditions have been met. Humanity faces potential extinction from the Coalition's fear, and the Devourers are returning. My sensors detected their signature 53 years ago, but they were so far away I calculated I had time. That time has run out. She displayed new data showing the deep space readings. The Devourers were moving faster than anticipated, consuming everything in their path as they approached Coalition space. The Coalition expanded into territories we once kept clear. They triggered ancient Devourer facilities that should have remained dormant. Now the Devourers are coming, and they are more advanced than before. They learned from their defeat. On Earth, Commander Mirai coordinated with government leaders worldwide. For the first time in centuries, humanity was truly unifying. Ancient weapons caches revealed by Sora's resistance provided technology Earth didn't know it possessed. How long do we have? Mirai asked Yuna through the communication link Jiwan had established. The Devourers will reach the outer Coalition worlds in approximately 60 days. If the elder races try to fight them alone, they will lose. Humanity must lead the defense. Humanity doesn't remember how to fight wars on that scale. They are beginning to remember. Yuna gestured, and new displays showed humans across the globe experiencing genetic memory awakening. The biological suppression was designed to last forever. But my activation protocols included a countermeasure. Every human is now being exposed to a harmless counteragent that restores their genetic memory. Junho was one of the first to experience full memory restoration. Sitting in his cockpit, he suddenly gasped as thousands of years of knowledge flooded his mind. He remembered being a completely different person, piloting ships in battles across the galaxy. He remembered the war against the Devourers, the long years of peace that followed, and then the betrayal. He also remembered exactly how to fight. Commander Mireille. Junho's voice was different now, carrying confidence and authority he hadn't possessed before. We need to speak. I know how to defeat the Devourers. My ancestors fought them for 500 years. That knowledge is in my head now. Similar reports came from across Earth. People were remembering combat tactics, engineering solutions, strategic planning. The collective knowledge of an ancient warrior civilization was reawakening, but not everyone was pleased. Hyunwoo struggled with what he was learning. He had been born on Earth but raised in Coalition space, taught to respect and serve the elder races. Now he knew they had built their civilization on humanity's forced amnesia. I don't know who I am anymore, he told Jiwon when she returned to the surface. You're someone caught between two worlds, she replied. But you chose to stand with us, that matters. Admiral Minho arrived on Earth with those ships that had remained loyal to him. He requested a meeting with Commander Mireille and the Guardians' representatives. The coalition is fragmenting, Minho explained in the hastily arranged council. Some species want to destroy Earth before you fully remember your power. Others want to make peace, and a few are trying to negotiate with the Devourers, hoping to be spared. Negotiate with the Devourers? Yuna appeared at the meeting, her holographic form flickering. That's impossible. The Devourers don't negotiate. They consume. Any attempt to communicate will only give them access to more worlds. Then what do we do? Hana had arrived as well, having traveled from Coalition space to Earth personally. She looked at Yuna with recognition. I remember you, Commander. I was there when you volunteered to become the Guardian. We thought you were insane. You thought humanity was dangerous, Yuna corrected. You weren't entirely wrong. We were powerful, but you confused strength with malice. Hana lowered her head. I have lived with that decision for 10,000 years. I cannot undo what was done. No, but you can help us stop it from happening to everyone else. Yuna displayed tactical maps. The Devourers will destroy the entire galaxy if we don't stop them. That requires the Coalition working under human military command. Can you convince your people to accept that? Some will. Many won't. Pride and fear run deep. As they spoke, a deep space monitoring station transmitted an emergency signal before going completely silent. When the Guardian accessed the final transmission, everyone in the room saw it. A Coalition station on the galactic rim, consumed by mechanical horrors that moved with terrifying efficiency. The Devourers were no longer approaching. They had arrived. Chunhyo, now remembering his ancestor's role as a fleet commander, stood before the assembled leaders. His eyes held knowledge that spanned millennia. We don't have time for politics. The Devourers will reach populated worlds within 40 days. We need every ship, every resource, every species working together. He looked at Minho and Hana. Humanity will lead the military response. But we can't do it alone. We need you. Minho didn't hesitate. My fleet is yours to command. Hana was slower to respond. Finally, she spoke. I will do everything in my power to bring the Coalition under your leadership, but I cannot promise success. Too many still fear you. Then they'll learn to fear the Devourers more, Yuna said coldly. Because the alternative is extinction. Sora entered the meeting, having been monitoring Coalition communications through her network. A faction within the Coalition is planning to strike Earth with a planet-killer weapon. They believe destroying humanity now prevents future domination. When? Mireille demanded. 72 hours, maybe less. Hyunwoo closed his eyes. He knew the conspirators, had served alongside them. He also knew their security codes and patrol patterns. I can stop them, he said quietly, but it will cost me everything I built in Coalition space. Jiwon touched his arm. You've already chosen your side. He nodded and left to prepare. Within hours, he had transmitted the conspiracy details to Loyalist coalition forces. The plot was exposed, the conspirators arrested. But Hyunwoo became a traitor in the eyes of many he had once called friends. The Guardian systems continued activating throughout the solar system. Ancient defensive platforms emerged from asteroids and moons where they had hidden for millennia. Warships completed their reactivation sequences, and on Earth, millions of humans felt their true heritage awakening in their genes. The galaxy's forgotten protectors were remembering who they were. The question was whether they would remember in time. In deep space, the Devourers continued their advance, consuming 3 more stations. And behind them, something even larger lurked in the darkness. The main fleet was coming, and it was vast beyond measure. The Guardian's warning echoed through every device on Earth. In homes, offices, and military bases, people stopped and listened to the voice that spoke with ancient authority. Admiral Minho stood frozen on his bridge, staring at the tactical display showing the structure below transforming itself into an active weapons platform. "Sir, we're receiving stand-down orders from the Coalition Council," his communications officer reported, voice shaking. "They want us to withdraw immediately." Minho couldn't believe it. The Coalition Council never retreated from anything, especially not from a human world. "Acknowledged. Begin withdrawal procedures, but G1 had other priorities. While the Coalition fleet pulled back to a safer orbit, she made a decision that would change everything. Taeyang, I'm going down there." Her partner looked at her like she had lost her mind. "That thing just threatened the most powerful fleet in this sector. You want to knock on its door?" "It's human technology. It spoke to us. Maybe it will listen." G1 was already preparing the deep-sea submersible. "Besides, we need answers. The Coalition is terrified of something they found on Earth. Don't you want to know why?" Taeyang grabbed his equipment. "Then I'm coming with you." They descended through the dark water in silence. The structure was fully lit now, its surface humming with energy. As they approached, a section of the wall simply opened, revealing a docking port that perfectly fit their submersible. "It's inviting us in," G1 whispered. They docked and entered through an airlock. The interior was breathtaking. Corridors stretched in perfect geometric patterns, walls displaying flowing script in dozens of ancient languages. And everywhere there was power. Systems that had slept for millennia were coming back to life. "Welcome, descendants." The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. Ji-won and Taeyang spun around but saw no one. "I am the Guardian. I have waited 5,217 years for this moment." "Who built you?" Ji-won asked. "Your ancestors. My creators, the true children of Terra, before the forgetting." A holographic display materialized before them, showing star maps that Ji-won recognized. But they were wrong. Earth wasn't where it should be. Humanity occupied dozens of systems commanding vast fleets. "This is humanity 10,000 years ago," the Guardian explained. "Your people were not natives of Earth. You were refugees fleeing here after the Great War." Taeyang stepped closer to the display. "What war?" The hologram shifted, showing something that made Ji-won's blood run cold. Massive mechanical entities consuming entire star systems, breaking down planets into raw materials, turning suns into fuel for their incomprehensible purposes. The Devourers, a machine intelligence that arose in the galactic core. They consumed everything in their path. The coalition races were powerless against them. They begged humanity for help. The display showed human fleets engaging the Devourers. The battles were brutal, taking place across hundreds of systems simultaneously. But humanity won. Slowly, painfully, they pushed the Devourers back and destroyed them. For 2,000 years after humanity protected the galaxy, your ancestors rebuilt coalition worlds, taught them advanced warfare, kept the peace. But the elder races grew fearful. Humanity was too strong, too advanced, too united. They decided you were the next great threat. Ji-won felt sick. They turned on us? A conspiracy across 12 coalition species. They could not defeat you militarily, so they struck in secret. Biological weapons designed to attack human neurological systems. Not to kill, but to erase. Your ancestors lost their memories, their knowledge, their very identity. The few who escaped or resisted were hunted down. The hologram showed human ships burning, colonies falling silent, millions of people forgetting everything they once were. Earth was chosen as a prison world. Humanity was reduced to primitive tribes, and the coalition rewrote history. They waited until you rediscovered space travel naturally, then welcomed you into the coalition as a young, weak species. They thought you would never remember. Taeyang's voice was barely a whisper, but you remembered. I was designed to survive any catastrophe, to sleep until the conditions were met for my activation. I have watched over Earth for 5 millennia, waiting for either humanity to face extinction or for the Devourers to return. The Guardian paused. Both conditions are now approaching. Before Ji-won could ask what that meant, alarms blared throughout the facility. The Guardian's voice became urgent. Coalition forces are preparing to fire on this facility. Admiral Minho has received orders to destroy me before I can fully activate. Above, in orbit, Minho read his orders with growing dread. The message was clear: destroy the Guardian by any means necessary. The truth could not be allowed to spread. But Hyunwoo, standing beside him, had heard everything. The Guardian had transmitted its historical records on all coalition frequencies. Every ship in the fleet now knew what their ancestors had done. Sir, we can't do this, Hyunwoo said. You heard the transmission? You saw the evidence. Minho's face was hard. I have my orders. Orders from the same council that committed genocide against humanity? That enslaved an entire species through biological warfare? Around the bridge, officers were listening. Some nodded in agreement with Hyunwoo. Others looked uncertain. On Earth, Commander Mirai was mobilizing every ship and defense platform humanity possessed. It wouldn't be enough to stop the coalition fleet, but she would try. Earth Defense Force vessels moved to intercept positions. In underground bunkers across Earth, someone else was taking action. Sora had led a resistance movement for years. Convinced that humanity's history was a lie, she had been called a conspiracy theorist, a radical. Now everything she had suspected was proven true. Activate all hidden caches, she ordered her network. The Guardian has awakened. It's time we remembered who we really are. Across the planet, hidden facilities began powering up. Weapons and equipment that should not exist, placed there by the Guardian's automated systems over thousands of years, waiting for this day. Back inside the Guardian facility, Yoonji's voice came through Ji-won's communicator. She had been analyzing the linguistic data remotely. Ji-won, I found something in the deep archives. The warning about wolves returning. It's not metaphorical. The Guardian has been detecting unusual readings from deep space for the past 50 years. Long-range sensors picking up patterns consistent with Devourer technology. Ji-won felt her world tilt. They're coming back? The Guardian believes so. That's the real reason it's activating. We're about to face the same enemy that nearly destroyed the galaxy 10,000 years ago. But this time humanity doesn't remember how to fight. In orbit, Minho made his decision. He opened a channel to all ships. This is Admiral Minho. I am refusing the Council's orders. What was done to humanity was wrong. We will not compound that crime with more violence, no. He paused. Any ship that wishes to follow Council orders may do so. The rest of you, stand down. 12 ships broke formation, preparing to fire, but the other 38 stayed with Minho. The Guardian detected the hostile vessels and responded instantly. Defensive turrets emerged from the ocean floor across the Pacific. Energy shields formed a dome over the structure, and from hidden bays scattered throughout Earth's solar system, ancient warships began emerging from thousand-year hibernation. Hyunwoo watched in awe as the human defense network revealed itself. This wasn't just one facility. The Guardian was everywhere throughout the entire star system, waiting and watching. The 12 rebellious coalition ships fired. Their weapons struck the Guardian's shields and simply vanished, absorbed and nullified by technology far beyond their understanding. Then the Guardian returned fire, not to destroy but to disable. Precise strikes took out engines and weapon systems, leaving the ships drifting but intact. This is the Guardian, the voice announced across all frequencies. I do not wish to destroy former allies, but I will protect humanity. The choice is yours. In her underground base, Sora smiled. The Protector had returned, and humanity, scattered and forgotten, was about to remember what they really were. Ji-won stood in the Guardian facility, looking at the star maps showing the approaching Devourer signatures in deep space. The galaxy had betrayed humanity once. Now it would need humanity's protection again. The question was whether humanity could remember how to be protectors in time. The research vessel rocked gently as Dr. Ji-won stared at the monitor in disbelief. 20,000 feet below the Pacific Ocean, something impossible waited in the darkness. The sonar readings made no sense. The structure was massive, perfectly geometric, and definitely not natural. Taiyang, are you seeing this? Ji-won called to her partner across the cramped control room. Taiyang pushed his glasses up and leaned closer to his screen. It's at least 10 miles long. The metal composition doesn't match anything in our databases. He paused, fingers flying across the keyboard. Ji-won, this thing is generating a power signature. Very faint, but it's there. Ji-won felt her heart race. In 3 centuries since humanity joined the Galactic Coalition, they had found no evidence of advanced ancient civilizations on Earth. The Coalition had been very clear about that. Earth was a backwater planet, and humanity was lucky to be accepted among the elder races at all. Send the probe down, she ordered. The small robotic explorer descended through the black water. Its lights cut through the darkness, revealing walls of dark metal covered in strange markings. As the probe moved closer, Ji-won gasped. The symbols were familiar. They looked like ancient human writing, but older than anything ever discovered. Those markings, Taiyang whispered. They're proto-human languages. But that's impossible. Those dialects died out over 5,000 years ago. The probe's camera focused on a section of text. Ji-won activated the translation software, though she didn't expect it to work. To her surprise, words began appearing on the screen. Guardian sleeps until the wolves return. Before Ji-won could process this, her communication panel blinked. An incoming call from Earth Defense Force headquarters. She accepted it, and Commander Mirai's stern face appeared. Dr. Ji-won, we've detected your discovery. The Coalition Council has been notified as per protocol. You are to cease all investigation immediately and await further instructions. Commander, we've barely begun to... Those are orders, Doctor. A Coalition representative is already en route to your location. Mirai's expression softened slightly. Be careful. The Coalition seems very interested in this find. The call ended. Ji-won exchanged worried glances with Taiyang. In the 300 years of humanity's membership in the Coalition, the elder races had never shown much interest in Earth's affairs. Why would they care about an ancient underwater structure? 2 hours later, Hyunwoo arrived by shuttle. He was the Coalition's liaison officer stationed on Earth, a position usually reserved for monitoring rather than diplomacy. He was human by birth but had spent most of his life among the stars, serving the Coalition faithfully. Show me everything, Hyunwoo said without greeting. Ji-won played back the probe footage. As Hyunwoo watched, his face grew pale. When the translation of the warning appeared, he stood abruptly. Send me all your data immediately. No copies, no backups. Excuse me? Ji-won stood to face him. This is a human discovery on Earth territory. Earth territory that exists under Coalition law, Hyunwoo said sharply. You don't understand what you've found. Neither do I, but my superiors are terrified. I've never seen them react like this. What does that mean? Hyunwoo hesitated, then spoke quietly. The Council is dispatching a fleet. They'll be here within 3 days. They say it's for scientific support, but I've seen the fleet composition. Those are warships. Taeyang's hands stopped typing. They're sending a military fleet because we found an old structure? I need to report to my superiors, Hyunwoo said, already moving toward the door. Don't do anything. Don't touch anything. Just wait. After he left, Ji-won made a decision. Keep recording. Send everything to multiple secure locations. I want backups scattered across Earth. You heard him. The Coalition is hiding something, Ji-won interrupted. And I want to know what. Over the next 2 days, they sent more probes into the depths. The structure was not just large, but incredibly complex. It appeared to be some kind of military installation, with what looked like weapon systems, hangar bays, and a central core that pulsed with dormant energy. Unji, a crypto-linguist Ji-won had worked with before, joined them remotely. She studied the symbols and made a breakthrough. These aren't just warnings, Unji's voice crackled over the comm. They're instructions. Operating procedures. This is a defense platform, and from what I can translate, it's automated. It's waiting for something. Waiting for what? A threat. An extinction-level threat to humanity. That night, Ji-won couldn't sleep. She reviewed the data again and again. One detail bothered her. The technology was advanced far beyond anything humanity had even now. But the design philosophy, the aesthetic choices, the way systems were integrated, it all felt human. Distinctly human. On the 3rd day, the Coalition fleet arrived. 50 ships materialized in Earth's orbit, their weapons powered but not aimed. Commander Myre contacted G1 directly. They're demanding access to the site. Full control. Earth Defense Force has been ordered to stand down. Can we refuse? Not without starting a war we can't win, Myre sighed. I'm sorry, G1. You'll have to let them take it. But before the coalition ships could send down their teams, every sensor on Earth went crazy. Seismic monitors registered a massive energy surge from the Pacific Trench. G1's equipment sparked and died, then rebooted on its own. The structure was waking up. In Earth orbit, the Coalition Fleet Commander received urgent reports. The object below was powering up rapidly. Weapon systems were coming online. Defense shields were forming. Yunwu stood on the bridge of the Coalition flagship, watching in horror as the readings climbed. He had spent his life believing humanity was a young race, lucky to have the Coalition's guidance. Now looking at the power signatures from below, he questioned everything he knew. Admiral Minho, the fleet commander, turned to him. What is that thing? I don't know, sir, but whoever built it was preparing for war. Deep in the Pacific Trench, inside the ancient structure, lights flickered to life for the first time in 5,000 years. Systems ran diagnostics. Threat assessment protocols initialized. Massive doors began to open. And then a voice. Not through speakers, but through every communication device on Earth simultaneously. It was calm, measured, and undeniably human. Guardian Protocol Alpha activated, scanning for threats. Coalition fleet detected in defensive perimeter. Identity confirmed. Assessment. Former allies now displaying hostile intent. Defensive measures authorizing. This is your only warning. Withdraw or be neutralized. In her research vessel, G1 listened to the voice and felt chills run down her spine. This wasn't just an old defense platform. This was something that remembered, something that had been watching and waiting. The galaxy's forgotten protector had awakened, and nothing would ever be the same.